Hey, how's it going, folks? I was gonna do a video where I'd say my top 20 favorite videos. In fact, I already recorded part 1, but when I was about to do part 2 of it was gonna be a 3-parter, I realized that there were some films that I completely left off the list that had to be on there, and so I had to retweak it and then just decide, well, I'll just do a review of the Battle of Algiers. I picked it up recently. Of course, you probably know that. And this film is so damn good. I mean, I haven't seen it in a while, but I forgot just how powerful and great of a film this is. I mean, this is one that right after I watched, I felt like watching it right again. Like one time over another after another after another. I mean, this is such a great film. I've never seen a film where I had such a strong impact after watching it. I loved it so much that I actually included it in my top 30 favorite films list, and that list is primarily built around films that I've watched a lot, films that get a lot of repeat viewing, and this is only my second time in however many years, and it was so damn good. Basically, it was about I told you about the plot, but the plot is the revolution in Algeria, where the French occupies it, and the citizens basically have a violent revolution where they plant bombs and they shoot police officers, and it's very, very violent stuff. And some of the material in the film, I mean, it looks like stock footage. I swear to God, if you didn't know any better, some of the riding footage, you'd swear there's no way they could have staged this. In fact, in some of the earlier editions of the film, there's a disclaimer at the beginning where it says absolutely no stock footage was used in this film, especially towards the end. I mean, this is as impressive as a film as I've ever seen. I mean, there's a reason why this is such a masterpiece and such a classic and has influenced so many great directors. Speaking of which, the 5 directors series or video in here, there's a lot of stuff that the directors said that I really picked up on while I was watching it, and one of which by Steven Soderbergh. He had a point where he said that the film has so many great memorable faces in it. I'm like, yes! It really brings it back to, reminds me of the Sergei Eisenstein's films, most particularly his most famous one being Battleship Potemkin, where he would cast actors based on their faces, where if he wants someone to scream like a woman screaming, he would get a less attractive looking woman to do it, because it would be a more startling thing to look at, stuff like that. He basically cast upon faces, and there's some really memorable faces in here. And one thing that Soderbergh really said that I really picked up on and loved was how some of the faces in the film are films themselves. There's a sequence where basically you're not allowed to touch the women of Algeria. So basically, in the checkpoints where you get searched, they tend to the inspectors, the police, just tend to let them walk by, without being searched. So the people kind of use this to their advantage, and they put bomb material in their bags and in their clothes. And there's a scene where they bomb a whole bunch of spots that's heavy with the French occupation, French citizens in there. And there's a scene where they bring the bombs to a guy with sunglasses, and his face, I mean, just him tinkering with it, could be a movie in its own. When he said that, I was like, that's exactly what I was thinking while I was watching this. I never realized how powerful of a film this was. I mean, Ennio Morricone's score is phenomenal. I mean, it's when you first watch it, you tend to think that the film is balanced in well, not balanced, but tipped over in the Algerian people's favor. Like the film wants you to root for them. And I think you just naturally root for the people. Like, they're the underdog. The French are definitely, without a doubt, more powerful. I mean, even though the Algerians are the masses, they're still the underdog compared to the French in this film. How often do you say that someone's the underdog to the French? Excuse me. But with more viewing of the film, the only thing that would tend to make you watch, when you watch it, think that it wants you to root for the people is because the Algerians, it focuses on them. I mean, the film kind of centers around the people, but it also focuses on the French people as well. And immediately there's a scene where people are shooting each other. Mostly the Algerian people are shooting the French police officers. But there's a scene where the French bomb a Casbah, like a house, and you see all the rubble and the dead bodies, and the Ennio Morricone score comes in where it's kind of funeral music, and your first reaction is like, wow, that's terrible. Since it's played with the Algerian people's deaths after they shot a bunch of police officers, you tend to be like, well, okay, this film really wants me to root for the Algerians. But later in the film, you see that the Algerians bomb a whole bunch of French places, and they play the same funeral music cue. So it's just mourning life in general. That these people had passed away, and that's what they're really sad about. It's not, it has nothing to do with favoritism, and when you watch it, it's really just stating the facts. I really love this film. I've said it before, and my main fault with the packaging, whatever, it's just how hard the DVD is to get out. Watch this. Just watch this. You push. Alright, I'm going to try to take it out now. See, I mean, with any other DVD thing, that would have took like that. But that took about like a good 10 seconds at least. That's just something I've noticed. Like I said, the footage in this film looks very real, and it's such an important film. I remember they mentioned in the special features that this film was actually shown at the Pentagon to basically show how a revolution starts and how it works and all that kind of stuff. And I really found that amazing. Like, this film is so influential and so important that the government is looking at it to study revolutions. And one film that always came to mind when I was watching this, well, actually many films, is all the revolution films, and you can definitely see the impact that this film had on those. Yeah, what else can I talk about? So many great moments in this film. There's this one scene that really got me was well, since it's one of those films like Citizen Kane, where the ending is in the beginning, where you know that Kane dies, so it's not a spoiler. Well, you know that the rebellion fails, because one of the first scenes in the movie is an informer basically ratting out where the head of the FLN, which is the name of the rebellion group in the film, is, and you come back to it later in the film, and that with Ennio Morricone's music, and oh man, it breaks your heart watching it, because you grew up, you watch these people and you rooted for them. I mean, these are the good guys to you, even though they're doing horrible things. You root for them because they're the underdog. And getting back to the Eisenstein point with the faces, the informer's face, when they get to the guy and they're basically tell him to come out in 30 seconds or they're gonna blow him to pieces. His face is just, oh, he looks like, I don't think you can make someone look that sad. I've never seen someone look so horrifically terrified and sad in their entire life. I mean, this is one of the best pieces of type acting I've ever seen. It just breaks my heart just watching this guy. Like, he's just so depressed that he had to rat out the leader of the group. Phenomenal film. I couldn't praise this film anymore. It's skyrocketed into one of my favorites already. I'm so glad I picked this up. You gotta check it out. It gets my highest rating, and I just love this film so much. I gotta watch it again. So, see ya.